Alrighty, let's get into part 3. We're on pages 150 through 200 for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. We can start here with pages 151 through 159. We're basically just learning backstories about the acutes. Sefelt, Fredrickson, they're both epileptic. Sefelt kind of refuses to take his medication, and Fredrickson doubles up on that dosage, which the Nurse Ratched knows about, so I wonder if she's fiddling with the dosages knowing that that's occurring. I don't know if taking double the dosage for the epileptic cure is good or not. I know that taking their pills, it's a double-edged sword. If you don't take it, you get the seizures, and if you do take it, I think their like gums start to deteriorate, and it's not very fun. So either way, it's not very good for you. Although I can't really assume having seizures is probably not very good for you, especially if you fall and hit your head. That'd not be very fun, huh? We also introduced to Harding and his wife. Their interaction is less than pleasant reading through it. It's from the view of McMurphy, or not the view, but McMurphy's there trying to meet the wife, and they're pretty harsh to each other, Harding and his wife, in a polite manner, I would say. But they're not exactly nice to each other, and I think we've all been in a situation like that. I guess depending on your life experiences. But for those of us who have been around, let's just say, a couple that's fighting, it's kind of just sit there, you're just nodding, and you're just trying to let the time pass until they either resolve something or one of them leaves, because it's never a fun situation to be in with other people. Huh? It's you just want to get out of there as fast as you can. And of course McMurphy's going through a tough time, realizing that he's kind of at the bidding of the big nurse if he wants to get out. That's the only way he can get out, if she approves him. And so right now he's kind of short-tempered, and he's pretty harsh to Harding when he's talking to him about how his wife treated Harding and how Harding treated his wife. But McMurphy wasn't wrong. Harding was pretty rude to his wife, and we don't know how long that this has been going on, probably a bit of time. Their little arguments, their little I guess their non-cohesiveness as a couple, and so it's just kind of hard. I get where McMurphy's coming from, but it could be put in a better way, I guess. But sometimes people need that kick in the butt, huh, to really understand. Okay. So 159 through 160, these pages, McMurphy's been short with the staff. We learned that he's having trouble sleeping, and he just keeps having dreams about faces. Nothing really more in depth about the dreams. I guess you can speculate what the dreams mean and all that stuff. Like, I wonder what exactly, who is he seeing? Who are the faces? Is it repeated faces? I know it's a repeated dream. Could it be when he was in the war camp or whatever? I guess you could try to read into that more, but it's kind of left up in the air. And, from Chief Bromden's perspective, he doesn't really go into it either. He gives a lot of thought and backstory into a lot of things, but nothing really much there. Just kind of interesting little side bit. Pages 166 and 167, we come to learn that actually very few people are committed in this hospital. Some of the chronics are committed, and McMurphy's committed, but everybody else is there on their own accord for the most part, which is tough for McMurphy to understand. He doesn't understand why they would want to be inside when in this ward having their whole lives controlled, when they could be out there living their own life and stuff like that. And Billy Bibbett and some of the other guys try to explain how hard it is to, he has the stutter, and the other acutes and everything have different issues that make life harder, that people make fun of them for, and I get that can be really difficult to deal with, especially when you don't have that confidence in yourself and you're afraid to go out in the world. And if you can just go to the ward and know that you'll be safe and you'll be taken care of, I mean, that's kind of a refreshing thought, to know that you don't have to face those hardships. But I mean, you can't, at least in my eyes, and it seems like McMurphy's eyes, you can't live your life that way. Everyone's life is always going to be hard, right? We all have things that are tough, and you kind of just have to get through. You have to work on them. Obviously, I'm trying to work on becoming a better reader, and so that's why I'm kind of starting the book club thing, which is nowhere near saying like, oh, I have a study or something like that, but it's just something you have to work through. You have to struggle with that, and that's just a part of life. And surrounding yourself with people that can lift you up. McMurphy, I think we'll see later on, tries to lift these guys up and treat them more like a person, which when he first got to the ward, he was doing exactly that. He was treating them just like any other person, which would boost anyone's confidence, right? To know that you have a friend that wants to joke around with you and all that stuff. And so McMurphy has a really hard time understanding why they would choose to be in the ward. And I get it. I get it. Why it's nice to feel safe and secured, and it's hard to get out of your bubble, but you gotta try sometimes. You just gotta try. Which, I'm a young guy, I don't know everything, but I do know that life is going to be somewhat of a struggle, and you just have to keep pushing through. 168 through 172, we're at the kind of the meeting where Nurse Ratchet's going to take away the tub room for poker, and he keeps hearing this ringing while it's going on. I think he's anticipating something bad's going to happen with McMurphy, which I think we're all anticipating that, of course, how he's going to react to her punishment and her style. And I mean, I've experienced that several times, whether I know that I'm getting in trouble or that I think someone's going to do something bad or silly, and it's I don't really hear a ringing, but it's like a sunken feeling inside of me, and you're the saliva in my mouth goes away, and it gets all dry, and you just feel this rush from head down to the toe, and it's like, oh no, it's just that feeling that you get. So Chief's just experiencing that through ringing in his head, but I definitely experienced that too. I think sometimes it could be just like a little shot of the adrenaline going through your body too, in anticipation of something that might happen. Your body's getting ready for it. But yeah, I think we've all experienced something like that. You can relate to the book just fine. And then of course Mac decides to punch through the glass. I had to reread it to make sure that he actually shoved his hand and broke the glass, and sure enough he did. He was bleeding and had to get a bandage, which is very shocking. I don't know why he has the change of heart, what put him over the edge to not be scared of the big nurse anymore, because I know that she kind of controls his fate. And I'm not entirely sure why he switched. It could have been that, I guess one thing is that it's just not in his nature to, just obey someone and do all that. He's kind of a freewheeling guy who likes to mess around with people and create chaos. And so either it just got to him that this is not my nature, and we covered it in the previous video about how Chief was saying that how could the red sideburn man with the rough hands and everything want to paint and write beautiful letters with flowing handwriting. And I think Mac's just becoming who he is, in this situation. And then 178 through 175 through 178, again, Mac continues to treat the patients there, the acutes, the chronics, just as if they were a normal person, which I think is the best way to get them to you know, reacclimate to the world, and feel good about themselves, feel confident about themselves. You know, the best way to go about when you're struggling with something is to be comfortable enough in other areas in your own skin, in your own life, in your own personality, and you can kind of lean on those, and then eventually you'll get better at the things you're struggling with. But you know, just treating them as any other old person is a good way to go about it. They're not just freaks. Which Freaks is a good movie from like the 1920s. It's about circus freaks. What is it? One of us. I think that's the famous line from that movie. It's like about an hour long. You can find it somewhere. But yeah, that's a pretty good movie about you know, treating, you know, they're just by the way someone looks or acts, they're not always just a freak. Yeah. Let's see. We learn about Chief's encounters as a child when they're trying to take the land of his people. I think that, I don't know where Ken Kesey got his information from, but it seems pretty accurate. I did like a indigenous films course in college, and from most of the films I watched, that's pretty much how it went as well. They either forced or made life so terrible that they had to give in to giving up their land, and what they got in return was not very favorable. And yeah, it wasn't a good thing that happened to G's family and everybody else. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Okay, page 186 and 188. Chief spoke to McMurphy. I think in the beginning of the book, Mac had a sense that he thought Chief could hear him. You know, when he said like, "Oh, and I told you that the black boy, when that black boy was coming, you sure jumped, Chief," I think is the line that Mac used, and it kind of like gave a hint that Mac might know that Chief can hear. And now Chief's talking to Mac. McMurphy really changed not just everyone, but especially Chief. I know Chief said like it was an instinct to say thank you, but for someone that's been able to remain silent for so many years, I feel like it's pretty hard to slip up when something like that happens, to just say thank you. I know Chief wanted to talk, and I think he allowed it to happen. It wasn't just an instinct, but he allowed himself to talk to McMurphy because he wanted to be heard. He felt comfortable enough and felt friendly enough that he wanted to talk with him, and that's a powerful thing. McMurphy's changing the ward, probably for the better, and he's making progress in the short few weeks that he's been there, maybe a month at this point, than any of the nurses or the doctors have, which is incredible. And Chief warns Mac about the Combine in page 188, which may or may not be true. Yeah. And I think it is true. I think he's getting Chief's experience with his land being taken and his family and all that stuff. As a child, the government worked as a combine to take all of that away from him. And so he has that past experience, and so he's going to use that moving forward, which the ward definitely is a combine working together, led by Nurse Ratchet. For the most part on this particular ward, everyone kind of just obeys her and does what she does and does what they think she would want. And so there is something working against that, and McMurphy's definitely got to be careful because he is kind of acting out a lot. And then page 199, McMurphy got the doctor to agree to go on the fishing trip, which the doctor is going against. There's a fly in here. Go away. Which the doctor's even going against the big nurse now. So, I mean, I think it is good to get people out. If you want to reacclimate people out in the real world, you got to have them have experiences out in the real world, away from the ward, which is probably a good thing to get them to go. I don't know if fishing's the thing to do it, but everyone seems pretty excited, and to get the doctor out there as well is kind of funny. He's going against the nurse, even though he's, I guess, kind of a higher ranking official. It's kind of the nurse's way in this ward, but looking forward to reading the rest about the fishing trip. I hope the Ken Kesey goes more in depth on the fishing trip, kind of get ourselves away from the ward a little bit, and we'll see how it goes. But that is pages 150 through 200, and I hope you enjoyed.